All right, everyone. Hello. My name is Jay Mackin. Here we are with the platform. This is our homepage. And when we get into surveys and polls, this is where you'll start, just like everything else. And we also call it the dashboard. However you refer to it, this is where we're at, and this is where we start with all of our applications that you need to put out there into the world. And we do have a Q&A. If any questions do come up, just launch them right there into the Q&A section. My colleague Ryan is here to help, and he'll grab those questions. If he doesn't see them, I will eventually, and we'll get all your questions answered now, and then we'll give you some ways to get in touch with us after this webinar so that you can always have the information you need right at your fingertips. So surveys and polls. And let's just dive right in. I mean, there's no mystery. You know, a poll, a survey, they're very similar and they are different, but there are some differences, and we'll get into those. Let's start with polls, though. Polls are designed to be a fast and easy way to gather information from a group of participants. Whether you are asking which ice cream flavor is their favorite or which fast food restaurant should be built in a local small town, they are, of course, a similar format to surveys, but also contain distinguishing features that set them apart from surveys. And here are a few tips today that we're going to get into to build these promotions and campaigns so you can make them effective for your account, your station, your company. The first and most important aspect of the build is the landing page. So I'm gonna get in there now, and the way we do that is we get into create a campaign, and you'll see that they are grouped together here right in this create a campaign pop out, and I'll click survey and poll. We're going to start with a poll. So I'm going to choose poll right here. You'll see that they are both in alignment here, and I will choose poll to move forward. And I think what we're going to do is, since it's timely, will spelled correctly, will Phil see his shadow? So we'll start our campaign, and it's just going to populate for us here. And we can see that the framework is now built. The bare bones of our poll have come into being, and we just now need to populate everything and style it the way we want it. So the entry form that you are familiar with is only going to appear when you want your entrants to see their answers, meaning there isn't a way to control the voting, and there isn't a way to control the end result of the voting, and can fluctuate differently or drastically, excuse me. So first, let's get our graphic that we have previously created here. Let me find this thing. No, I made it. There it is. All right. Here we go. I'm going to use this file. Here we go. So will Phil see his shadow? And there he is right there. Shadow or no shadow. So this is from a template that we have already built, by the way. You can use templates for your polls and surveys that we have already built that give you graphics like this, right? Very easily to populate right into the campaign. I'll show you that also when we build the survey. We'll build that from a template that already exists in the system. So here we have our graphic is input, and there we go. We're just looking at the setup here, and I can always change this title if I want. I can move that around any way I want this to appear. I can remove it completely if I want. So that's also a very distinct possibility that you may get into the campaign that you're building. Want to remove that title? You can do that right here. Just delete it out or change it as needed. And then we can also, while we're here, change how we're going to display this on the results page. So we're kind of, this is a working backwards a little bit, but you can see that we can hide the form at the end of the poll, and we can also show users a summary of the responses. Stats from all other users are available there as well. So that's going to be the results page. You can see they lay out here 1, 2, 3 as we're creating this poll. And there are other things here. You can add a sponsor logo right at the top if you like. Bring that in and link to that sponsor's website. It's very nice. And in the case of all of our campaigns that you're going to build with us, we do encourage you to sell them as your own and use them as a way to drive revenue as well as web traffic. Always a great win-win for sales, promotions, air, and everybody on the air to just kind of loop it all in, sell it, make it look great, and keep your sponsors happy. And if Phil was our sponsor, I'm sure he would be happy about the way this poll is turning out, because it is starting to look pretty great. Speaking of it looking great, we can take a look at it on the front end right now. So you can see that it did, that we don't have any questions, so it already completed basically. But just a good way to see how it's rolling out. We can see how our title is going to appear and what the graphic looks like on the front end. So there we go. And then we can take a look on the mobile side. Very similar, just a little bit of a different aspect there. And then our thank you message right here. We got that in. And so, yeah, that's the results page. And we've gone down through pretty much everything here. Let's move on to the questions. And these are pretty self-explanatory. You know, it'll do multiple choice. And we can say, let's enter, will Phil see a shadow? We're just gonna duplicate that here. Will Phil see his shadow? Right, I'm gonna copy that just in case I need it again. There we go. Yes. Or no. We'll add some more color here. Yes. 6 more. I think it's this way. If he sees it, 6 more weeks. And no. Early spring. Okay. So those are our question and our answers for there's really only one question. You can fill this out. You can keep adding questions as needed for your poll here if desired. And add additional questions down here as the same function of these buttons. So so we've got that. We can add more choices if there was if you wanted to, you can make a maybe, you know, he only comes out halfway. We don't know. I don't know how the official ruling on if he only sees half a shadow, who knows. But you can also, if these answers are going to be more of the graphic based, for instance, if this was an Easter poll and it was what's your favorite candy for Easter, you could switch this to a grid format and everything will appear in a grid instead of just these text answers. But I'm going to head on back to the text answers because that's all we've got right now, and that's how this would proceed as a real poll, excuse me. So we're moving on into we're still here in the questions. We can look at the advanced settings. You can add conditionals if needed. Now this would mainly be for surveys, but if your poll is going to have conditionals, so you know, if they choose yes, you can move to another option, whatever you want to set that to be. So not something you'll use a lot, but it can help if you've got a more in-depth poll or survey. You can use conditionals both, but so you'll see the conditional, the advanced questions and conditional, same thing. So and you can add more than one if you need to. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these because we're not going to use them on this sample for now. So here we are. Yes, 6 more weeks. no early springs. Those are our answers. Now that we've got some questions in there, let's take another look and just see how it's developing. Okay, so we get to see now that the questions are there, what this is going to look like on the front end. Yes, 6 more weeks, no early spring. And let's hit that. So now we're going to pop up and we'll see that the results have popped up. We see a shadow. Will he see a shadow? And no. And let me do a refresh here. Take a look at that again. We'll go yes this time, so you can see how the action progresses. Now this is the preview, so things aren't going to, you're not going to see results. We're just looking at this in preview. It will start tallying results and things when we do this on the front end for real. So, and then on the mobile side, very similar action on how that's going to work. So, okay, so now the settings page. This is where we get into the meat of how this thing is going to work, the actual mechanism of the poll. Let's see here. And don't forget to launch those questions into the Q&A if you do have any questions that do pop up. Just clear that out. All right. All right, back to our poll. Here we go. So our time zones is going to show right here wherever you're at. That's what will be listed there. Then you've got the I always like to just hit now, and then adjust as I need. Let's go. We'll end this one tomorrow. So it's live. I've got the title. I've got the prize. This really isn't going to affect much. I actually do clear that out. You can get a notifications email if you wish. If every time someone completes this campaign, every time somebody completes it, I would use this sparingly. If you get a poll that has a lot of traffic, you're going to get a lot of emails. So, and then you can get a recap email. These are just like on sweepstakes, you know, the basic form maneuvers that you can get into. Recap email, you can put your email in here. When the campaign ends, you'll get a recap of entrants. It's a basic email of stats is what it is. You can add tags just like the sweepstakes as well. And we'll just, we can tag this one Phil contest, and then we can look for that in the future very easily. So you can leave that. And then if you didn't like it, you know what, I don't need that tag. I'll just get rid of it. So some options when it comes to the appearance. You can show the share options on that that step, the final step that allows folks to share this one. I don't need them to share it, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that one. Hide the title. A hide title will remove this box. As you can see, the title is now gone on every page, and this makes sense because we've got shadow or no shadow here. If I didn't want that title to appear, I can remove it there in the settings section. And if I've got the official title baked into my graphic, it wouldn't make sense to then duplicate it in the form of a block text title. So, but you know what? My exact title is not baked into my image, so I do want that to stick around. I'm going to head back, and I'm going to remove that so that my title appears, and we can take a look at that again. So now it's back. That was that one that we removed. So handy tool if your title is not baked into your graphic. Heading back to settings here. White label. This is, these are good to get into now. These options will be present on basically every campaign you create under more settings. And what these do is, this is the white label is the audience, our company's branding that appears at the bottom of the campaign. You can click this and it will remove our branding from the bottom. And then also there's a link on all campaigns to the rules, the rule page, the terms and conditions, however you refer to it. And you can get rid of those footer terms by clicking this. Now it's going to ask you, now did you put a link to your terms and conditions somewhere else? And if you haven't, you're going to want to come back and make sure that they're there. And then here, just this one will hide the user data from the notification emails that it sends to you. So it'll produce a more basic notification email that we talked about up here. Assets, if you want, you can plug in the assets from this campaign and have them stored here for future use if you need that. Fine print, if you need something to appear right below the entry form. If you want to, some message you want to convey, I would keep it brief if you're doing that. You don't need to put the whole entire rules, terms and conditions here. Just a quick message, 1 or 2 sentences if there's something you want to display right under the entry form. And here's your terms and conditions. This is where you'll put your rules. If you are doing a giveaway along with this, you'll want to always have your terms and conditions there. And then you can send out confirmation emails to those that enter. And here's where you would edit that text. These aren't things that you're going to use all the time, but it's good to know why they're there. And they also do have little information bubbles that will explain them as well. Custom CSS, if you're changing the look and you're confident in your CSS skills, this is where you would do that. Again, something not used too often. Here you can change the language of the that appears around and in the campaign that you're creating. So publishing options, kind of standard. These come along with all of our campaigns. You'll find them in sweepstakes, the sports promotions, that wherever and wherever, how you need this to appear on your grid. These are the selections for that. And then, you know what, we're going to do this when it's live or recently expired or upcoming. So we just change that. This one you use very infrequently. You can redirect this grid item to a custom URL. You'll find these selections on pretty much every campaign that you build within Audience. You won't use this one very often at all, I don't think. Embedding, if you need it, you can get the code, the short code, and the embed codes to embed this on a regular website and your CMS, and then also for WordPress, you'll find that information here. And there's some selections here. You won't use this, and this is probably best as yes at all times. So tracking pixels, if you have something like that, this is where you would add the tracker if you need to. And there you go. So as we move through the tabs of the poll, here you'll find stats, just like sweepstakes. There we go. Let me get back into here. There we go. Get back too many times. There we go. And what I did I had a blank page, so I just refreshed and it popped up very nicely for me. And where were we? We're stats. Now we're looking at download. Here you can come into download, of course, and this is where you can download your entries. This would be, you can choose a date and time to find out when entrants entered and completed the poll. Just the participants, you can specify the participants and their responses only, and then of course the form entries. So mostly you will use this one. You would want to see this one because you'll see the entrants' names, emails, all their information that they filled out in their when they entered, and then also their responses, so you know who responded how. And then you would hit the download, and that will bring up a CSV that'll that you can download of all of this information right here, and between the times that you specified. And again, if you leave these blank, it'll just be for the entire length of the promotion that it was active. Integrations, if you do participate in integrations, you'll find those here. If you're sending your mailing list to your MailChimps, your PostUps, your Campaigner, that's where you'll see those denoted. You'll see the integration denoted here. Now, here's an important one. If you are using this to choose winners, there is the regular choose winner tab. And you can choose the number of winners, of course. This will look a little bit different from campaign to campaign, depending on what the campaign type is. But it does allow you to pick winners from whenever and to whenever. So again, we have a date and time here, or from the entire duration. And you can choose how you're just from their entries, just from their exclude their bonus, and the referrals, any combination of how you want to choose from those entries is available right here. And then you can exclude here at the bottom by the date range who you need to exclude. If someone's already won in last week and you want to exclude them, you can change that to 14 days, however many days you want to exclude the last winner. So and then you would hit this button and choose your winner, and they will then appear over here in this table right here, and you'll have a history of all the winners on this particular campaign right here. Now here, this button will let us see who's entered. It's just a quick, instead of having to go back to the download tab, we can come in here into view entrance and see who's entered quickly. This is a good way if you just need some quick information to give you the gist of who's entered, how they're answering questions, that type of thing, the poll questions there. And so view entrance will pop up for you there. So that's pretty much it for the polls. Again, if you do have any questions, please do pop them down in the Q&A, and we will get to those. I haven't seen any so far, no open questions right now. I'm going to move on to surveys. So okay, so we got rid of that. So I'm back in my account now, and we move over here. I'm going to start fresh. You know what, I think what I said earlier is we would do a survey from a template. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit templates, and I'm going to come down here to surveys and polls. And let's see here. I think these are all going to be listed as polls. So when I add, let's see, breakfast food, that's a good one. So we'll do this. And if it only pops up as a poll, let's see what we got. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do, we'll do a similar survey to our good old friend Phil over there. We'll do this. Here we go, survey, and we'll just, I think it's still there. We go. So I'm going to start my survey this way. All right. So as you can see, very similar to set up a poll, and with survey, you can make it anonymous if you wish. But oh, you know what? I want that. I need those. I need to know who's entering here. So I'm going to make that. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to make it required. Let's do last name as well. And okay, we'll require that. Okay, those are back. So you know what? I didn't on my poll when I was building this as a poll. I forgot to add my list opt-in. And again, if you have integrations, your email programs that use your third-party email programs, MailChimp, et cetera, this is where you can add those, and it will show the opt-in field. You can actually make this required if you want. Not a smart bet on opt-ins, but you can pre-check it, which is nice, and which means that the entrants will have to actively remove the check mark if they don't want to be opted in. So let's go ahead and add our opt-in field, and it'll that's there now. And what other information? What's a good one here? I know we need to do. We need to go into our step 3, and since this is oh, I'm sorry, there is no step 3 and 4 on survey. Sorry about that. But step 2, we can add the social fields. You can have folks follow you on Twitter, and you just put your Twitter handle right here, and there we go. No, there's no bonus associated with this because it is a survey, but you can still put it there and have them enter that. And we did not require it, so they won't have to do it, but it's there if you'd like to try and garner some social following through this. So, which surveys and polls are a great way to do that. Will Phil see his shadow? And we're gonna bring our awesome Phil graphic back in for another appearance here. Where is he? There it is. There he is. And we will use this file. Here we go. So he's back. All right. So now here the questions very similar to poll in the setup. Outcomes a little different. This will our results page is now here in the third step. This can show, these are going to look familiar to you. And the difference is with survey, now it'll show statistics on answers from other users. So this looks a little different than poll, but very similar in setup and function. And then settings, again, very similar page here. Not much different. Our tabs up here are pretty much the same as well. And some more detail that you can add in terms of the responder emails and also the download filters. And then back to general settings, of course, with our start time, end time, and all of the associated selections that we went through with polls. So surveys and polls, very similar and used in similar ways, but there are some of the small differences that make them individual apps that you can use for different promotion types and in different situations. So those are going to be the walkthroughs of surveys and polls. Before I move on to anything else, are there any questions? If we can answer anything, please do let us know. Not seeing anything pop up. All right, so let's get back into all right. Trying to get back into my slides. Sorry about that. Here we go. Okay. So we've gone through our surveys, our polls. Let's take a look at the Help Center is audience, help.audience.io. Thank you. Help.audience.io is a searchable database of help questions and answers that you can use. And if that's not enough, if you're not finding what you need at help.audience.io, you can find us at ideas.audience.io. This is going to give you more information about our national promotions that are coming up that you can sign up for, depending on which company you work for. And then you can also email us, support@audience.io. You can call us live, 801-901-2011. And then everybody's favorite option, the live chat right within the platform. You'll just click on the bubble in the lower right-hand corner, and we will answer you usually within 3 to 4 minutes. Most of the time, less than that. I know my colleague Ryan gets them pretty quickly, like within a minute, because that's how good he is. But so live chat within the platform. Let us know when you need help with anything. We're here, that's what we're here for. We're here to make you successful and use audience in the best ways that you can to drive traffic, make your audience engaged, and make your clients happy. That is what we want to do. I want to thank you for joining me here for the polls and surveys back to basics. We'll have another one next month. Keep your eyes open on your email, and we will announce the next one for next month. But other than that, if you have any questions, let us know at one of these options there in front of you. Otherwise, have a great Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a great week. Bye now.